Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all having an amazing day today. Thank you so much for joining me. And in today's video, I am super excited because I'm going to be telling you all about one of the 3 upcoming fragrances that I'm going to be launching under the Navitus Parfums name. I'm excited to tell you all about this first one, which is the Aquatic release. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin this video and I tell you all about this fragrance and what my idea was behind the inspiration of the fragrance, the notes, the perfumer, how long it lasts, so on and so forth, I'm going to tell you all about this fragrance. But I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews and top 10s here on YouTube, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you got to do is click on that red button in the corner. Make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell and give this video a thumbs up if you like this type of content. So, my journey with Navitus Parfums has been a long one. I am the founding creative director. It all started back in November of 2019. I'm going to give you the abridged version. If you would like to watch the announcement video, I'm going to leave a card to that up here. But I launched 7 fragrances initially with 3 of the biggest perfumers in the world. And of course, these were fragrances like Navus, Primas, Absolutio, Virtus, Oud Luxuria, Oud Imperium. And then in February of 2020, I launched Arcanum, Lautus, and Opulentas, again with 3 perfumers. And here I have 3 more fragrances coming out. Now, the thing that's so special about these fragrances is that they are going to be significantly more inexpensive. I'm talking in the wheelhouse of like $50 more inexpensive than the fragrances that are currently on the Navitus Parfums website. Of course, I'm not going dollar for dollar because we will occasionally run promotions, including a launch day promotion, which is going to happen very, very soon. And so if you want to be among the first to learn about it, please make sure to register to the Navitus Parfums newsletter. I'm going to be leaving that in the description section below. This way you're going to be the first to know. But like I said in that initial announcement video, these 3 fragrances, I brought it back to the start. I'm thinking about why I chose the name Navitus Parfums to begin with. And it's a name that is Latin, of course, but it's so symbolic of what fragrance means to me. So Navitus means energy. Whenever you spray fragrance on, it lifts your spirits. It puts you in a good mood. It gives you energy to get through your day. It means passion. People who are into niche fragrances have a very strong passion for the olfactory art, and they have a strong passion for fragrances in general. But the name Navitus Parfums, or Navitus I should say, also has roots in the word nauta, which means mariner or voyager. And that's exactly what this fragrance is inspired by. This is inspired by the spirit of travel. You're going on a voyage. You're traveling to a faraway destination. And many of you probably know this, but I am an English teacher. I'm very passionate about teaching English and the literary canon. I do have a degree in English literature and writing with a concentration in secondary education. And so, of course, I teach everything from Othello by Shakespeare, Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet. I teach resume writing, cover letter writing, thank you letter writing. I teach a bunch of texts, The Great Gatsby, Of Mice and Men, The Old Man and the Sea, so on and so forth. But this fragrance in particular is inspired by the very first book that I ever read in Greek. So many of you probably know this, but I do speak Greek. I was actually an ESL student. English is my second language. I came to the United States when I was in the 3rd grade. I actually started school in Greece. Despite the fact that I was born in Queens, I moved to Greece at a very young age, and then I came back here in the 3rd grade. I didn't have any friends. I spoke English as a second language. I was an ESL student, and my parents even made me go to Greek school. So I actually do have a degree in elementary education of the Greek language. And so the very first book that I ever read in a different language, which was Greek, is Homer's Odyssey, believe it or not. So this is an epic poem, of course, about Odysseus. I'm not going to give you the synopsis of the book, but he fought in the Trojan War for 10 years, and then his journey back home also took 10 years. Basically, his family thought that he died at sea, and since then his wife Penelope had tons of suitors. And you know, this is about his voyage back home and his voyage to get back home to his son and his wife, and all of the perils that he faced as he was traveling back home. And so this is very sentimental for me. This is very poignant. This is very significant. The very first book that I ever read in another language, and I am 70% Greek, 20% Italian, 10% broadly Southern European, according to 23andMe. And so this fragrance is actually inspired by Homer's The Odyssey. Very sentimental book for me. And you'll see that the other two fragrances are also kind of inspired by books. Excuse me, I just dropped the book there. They're also inspired by books that I have read that have had a significant impact on me. So in the case of this fragrance, it is going to be an aquatic fragrance. I'm not going to reveal the name just yet, but when you see the name, it'll all make sense. All the puzzle pieces will come together. The perfumer for this one is Jorge Lee. Jorge Lee is such an incredible perfumer. I've had the pleasure of meeting him in person multiple times. I even took a trip to Istanbul, Turkey. I interviewed him for my YouTube channel. I'm going to leave a link to that video up here if you would like to hear him discuss a couple of the fragrances that he created for Navitus Parfums, including Arcanum, including Primas, and of course he's also done fragrances for Nishane, he's done Hachivat, he's done so many fragrances, Caragios, so many fragrances for Nishane. He's also done fragrances for Algabra and Unique and tons and tons of brands. He is one of the most talented perfumers I've ever met in my life, and it was really nothing short of an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to have the opportunity to meet him in person. And he welcomed me into his factory like family. He served me lunch, he gave me a tour of the factory. He is absolutely incredible, and so I'm very excited that I've had the opportunity to go back and forth with him over this past year and a half in creating this fragrance, which is such an accurate expression of the brief that I wrote. This fragrance contains a ton of natural ingredients. As a matter of fact, in the opening, you have 4 citrus ingredients that coalesce in the most magical way, and it took many trials to get it right. We're talking about easily over 100 trials of me just getting samples back from multiple factories, smelling through them, trying to decide what is the aquatic fragrance that I really want to release. And this is the one that really hits the nail on the head. And so it opens up with Mexican lime, Floridian grapefruit, it has Calabrian bergamot, it has Japanese yuzu, but it also has this coconut flesh accord in the opening. So you have a ton of natural citrus in the opening, but then you have this really juicy, amazingly exotic coconut note in the opening. And I knew that, you know, with this fragrance kind of symbolizing Odysseus's voyage, I wanted the freshness to last into the heart of the perfume, but also into the base, which is why in the heart, you're going to see 3 ingredients that keep that freshness alive. The first one is nutmeg, and believe it or not, despite the fact that nutmeg is a spice, it is used in the synthesis of like an oceanic accord, and it's used in a lot of oceanic perfumes. There's also clary sage and Indian ginger. And so the ginger in here is natural as well. I believe it's a CO2 ginger. Smells so refreshing, so invigorating, so juicy at the same time. You couple that with the coconut and the 4 different types of citrus in the opening. It's I'm just gonna have to smell it again. It's so bright and so effervescent and so energizing, like I said. And you also get a little bit of lavender. Now the lavender adds this versatility to the fragrance that makes it super appropriate for an office setting, if you want to wear it dressed up, dressed down. All of these fragrances that I'm going to be talking about are incredibly versatile. And despite the fact that in the opening this is a citrus bomb, this is a fragrance that you can wear all year round because it has exceptional longevity. You can expect 10+ hours from this fragrance. It will radiate beyond an arm's length for the first 2 hours of application. And of course, the concentration for these is going to be super high. Like I said in the previous video, we are not compromising anything having to do with the presentation, the quality of the raw materials, the master perfumers that we're working with, or the concentration of the blend. So all of these will be in the wheelhouse of 25% oil, which is significantly more than any other niche brand. There are some that come quite close, especially if you're talking about a lot of indie brands that even bring it up to like the 30 or 40% mark, but it's so incredibly rare. And these are now macerating as I'm shooting this video, and I can't tell you how excited I am to bring them to market. In the base, you do have New Caledonian sandalwood. You have a lot of other refreshing ingredients. You have vetiver from Java, which is also on the clean side. And so you are going to get this fresh sensation from top to heart to base. And I'm just so excited for everybody to smell this fragrance. Again, to recap, the perfumer is Jorge Lee. This is an aquatic fragrance. This is symbolizing the Nora aspect of the Navitus name. And this has some of my favorite ingredients in there. It does have the Venezuelan tonka bean, which I neglected to mention. So there is a touch of sweetness to sort of connect that sweetness that you're going to get in the opening with the coconut. It has 4 different types of citrus. It has the coconut. It has a little bit of geranium in here to add this clean sensation. Also adding a little bit of a minty and rosy touch to the fragrance, not heavy on the rose at all. So, you know, don't get discouraged into thinking that it's going to be a rose heavy fragrance. It absolutely isn't. And it's also not too strong on the mint because I've already done a mint and citrus fragrance with Navus, right? And so I didn't want to repeat that. I wanted this one to be significantly different, and I have been wearing this so much over the last few months, you have no idea. And I've actually also started wearing this to work since work started back up 2 weeks ago for me. And so I'm very excited for you to smell this one. I hope you absolutely love it. It is going to be significantly discounted and significantly more inexpensive than what's already on the website. And so make sure to subscribe to that newsletter down below if you would like to learn more about this fragrance as soon as it drops. In terms of comparing it to anything on the market, I really can't. I thought about it, but it's so different. It really stands out. I feel like the perfumer Jorge Lee did an incredible job with this one, really taking my guidance and my advice and my direction as per the brief that I wrote. I knew I wanted to reflect several different aspects of who I am and my personality. And of course, one thing that I neglected to mention towards the beginning of this video when I was discussing the inspiration is I love to cruise. You know, I have been on over a dozen cruises. And so that's something I've always had an affinity for, the open sea and just being in the middle of the water, being on a ship and traveling to exotic destinations. And so maybe in my past life, I was in the Navy or I was some kind of a mariner. But in any case, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for learning about this brand new fragrance with me. I'm very excited to share it with you, and I'm telling you, I can't wait to get everyone's opinion on this fragrance once it does hit the market. Thank you so much for your support and your loyalty. I love you guys. Thank you for everything. I'm excited to see you in the next video.